go ahead to talk about the survey and other descriptive research. Be divided into 5 basic categories: analytical, descriptive, experimental, qualitative, and creative research. Art and dance. The creative research includes art and dance but is not presented in this course. Today we will briefly discuss about the analytical research such as historical research, philosophic research, and research synthesis. Then we will move on to Chapter 15 and Chapter 16. Analytical research. Historical research, a type of analytical research that deals with events that have already occurred. It answers questions through the use of past knowledge and events. In other words, it is a systematic study of change and continuity in past human affairs. We do not use a lot such research in the field of physical activity and health. Research questions what happened, why or how it happened. In many cases, we use the secondary literature such as the books, articles, and other media. Philosophic research is a type of research characterized by critical inquiry in which the research establishes hypotheses, examines and analyzes existing facts, and synthesizes the evidence into a workable theoretical model. It examines reality through reflective techniques. A typical example is: what is the value of competition? The procedures of conducting such research include: identify the purpose of philosophic research, locate a research problem, analyze a research problem. Good philosophic research begins with definitions, descriptions, clarifications, and disclaimers. Synthesis is not simply a summary of the related literature. It is a logical type of research that leads to valid conclusions, hypotheses, evaluations, and the revision and proposal of theory. A major type of research synthesis is meta-analysis. Meta-analysis. A technique of literature review that contains a definitive methodology and the quantification of the results of various studies to a standard metric that allows the use of statistical techniques as a means of analysis. Below are steps in a meta-analysis. 1. Identify a problem. 2. Perform a literature search by specified means. 3. Review identified studies to determine inclusion or exclusion. 4. Carefully read and evaluate to identify and code important study characteristics. 5. Calculate effect size. 6. Apply appropriate statistical techniques. 7. Report all these steps and the outcomes in a review paper. Far, we have covered 3 specific types of research in analytical research. What are the 5 types of research? Descriptive research textbook lists a broad definition type of research concerned with status, including techniques such as surveys, case studies, and developmental research. Its value is based on the premise that problems can be solved and practices improved through objective and thorough description. Descriptive research includes observation, analysis, and description. There is no manipulation of variables or no experimental treatments. Descriptive research is different from experimental research in that there is no manipulation. Therefore, sometimes you do not have an independent variable. You would have a dependent variable, which is still what you measure. In experimental research you are asking questions that relate to what if. In other words, you are saying, if I manipulate something independent variable, what will happen? Will it make a difference in performance dependent variable? In descriptive research you just want to know what is happening. What is the current state of the dependent variable? In the text, correlational research is also included as descriptive research. Please also note that some qualitative research is descriptive. Descriptive research. What kinds of research questions? Describing populations, describing relationships between variables. These are different types of descriptive research. For the most part, they are based on how the data are collected. We will talk about each in more detail. Survey includes interview, questionnaire. Developmental studies include longitudinal approach, cross-sectional approach. Case study. Correlational. Observational. Survey research, we try to determine what is by asking the participants questions. Coming up with questions that the participants understand and that provide the researcher with the information they need to describe a specific situation can be a very difficult undertaking. There are two methods of questioning that a researcher can use: interviewing and questionnaires. Interviewing is verbally asking the participant questions and recording their responses in some manner. Questionnaires are typically self-administered, and are in written forms. There are advantages and disadvantages of both. Another type of survey is the Delphi method. We will talk about that later. Next, we will focus specifically on questionnaires. A questionnaire is a self-report instrument that is generally mailed, handed, or emailed to the respondent to complete with no help from the researcher. Administered questionnaire respondents are directly given the questionnaire. Distributed questionnaire is mailed or electronically delivered or handed out. These days many researchers use electronically delivered approach such as SurveyMonkey. Show how to use that. My example with questionnaire is to hand out. The majority of survey research in exercise sciences uses a questionnaire as data collection technique. Determine objectives. What is to be analyzed must be clear. We first delimit sample, and then construct questionnaire. Their development. Composing questions, each question should have three important attributes: focus, brevity, and simplicity. The questions should focus directly on the issue or topic relevant to the information needs of the study. They should be as short or brief as possible while still conveying the meaning. The questions should be expressed as simply and clearly as they can be. Questions should be worded so they are not ambiguous, misleading, or biased. Double-barreled questions should be avoided. Use simple sentences where possible and complex sentences only when essential. Level of wording vocabulary should be appropriate for the intended respondents. Organization of questionnaire. Appearance and layout is important. Length of questions is a major factor. In general, longer questionnaires have a poorer return rate. Place easy to answer questions first. Sensitive questions should be near the end. Items should be placed in a logical order. Demographic information. Recommend placing demographic questions at end. There are two different response formats. Closed-ended structured, below are the features. Standard answers provided. Easy to code and score. Facilitates answering sensitive questions. May make for a long questionnaire. Generally considered easy for respondent. Open-ended unstructured, below are the features. Respondent may answer as they choose. Exploratory, allows detailed response. Preferable for complex questions. May be difficult to code and score. Requires more time and effort of respondent. Of questionnaire. Validity and reliability of the questionnaire should be determined before it is administered. Use of a pilot study can be used to provide validity and reliability. Revise questionnaire as needed.